Hey everyone, Castus Gaming coming at you today with another video. Today we're going to be talking about Game Boy Advanced Emulation on Windows. I'm going to be showing you how to set up mGBA. It's a pretty rock solid emulator. It works really, really well. It always has for me anyway. It's kind of bare bones, but Game Boy Advanced Emulation doesn't really need the type of things like Dolphin and a Switch emulation and all that. If you're just getting into emulation, this emulator has been pretty rock solid for a while, so most of the newer versions just end up being bug fixes. It's been that way for a while, and I don't envision that changing anytime soon unless they decide to add retro achievements, which for you achievement hunters, this is probably not the guide for you. You probably want, as far as Windows goes, you probably want RetroArch, which if I get enough requests for that, I'll show you guys how to set it up. Honestly, it's kind of a pain in the ass. I like to keep it kind of simple, but if that's something you guys would be into, let me know in the comments down below. So as far as this goes, there's a couple different ways you could do this. If you're interested in a certain version for whatever reason, you can navigate to this website, which will be in the description below, and you can navigate to the version you want. To keep it simple, we're just going to be on the most recent version, so you can either click here and then navigate to downloads from there, or to keep it simple, just hit download. Right here, you can have the different desktop versions, Linux, Ubuntu, Mac OS. We want Windows because that's what I'm going to be showing you how to set up. If you're on a 32-bit system, you want this top one right here, but I want 64-bit, so I'm going to click the installer. Navigate to your downloads folder. I've got, obviously, a bunch of different installers, but click the download installer, or click the installer, excuse me. Go ahead and select whatever language you're after, obviously. Go ahead and accept the agreement. There's not really anything as far as the license goes. It's really, of your concern. As far as this goes, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up making a desktop shortcut. So this isn't really much of any of my concern. I'm going to show you how to set it up from there. Go ahead and hit next. Navigating to this part, just go ahead and leave everything clicked. Hit install after that. I usually unclick these two because it's less annoying that way. You don't really need to read these. Hit launch. Okay, so obviously this is the emulator. I'm going to show you a few of the features. There's not a ton of them, but I'm going to show you a few of the features and a few of the options that you have. I'm going to show you how to set up your whatever controller you have connected, along with like navigating to BIOS and games and that kind of stuff. So first and foremost, we navigate to tools, navigate to settings here. I wouldn't screw around with much of this. Everything's all worked for me. You can decide whether or not you want to deal with forced integer scaling. Jesus. A lot of people like integer scaling because it's a little bit more true to what the Game Boy Advance used to be. I'm going to go ahead and leave it checked. As far as the gameplay section goes, this is kind of up to you whether or not you want your game to load your last save state upon loading the game. Target FPS, I would not screw with this. Just leave it at 60. That's what the Game Boy Advance targeted by default. And if you up this, you're going to get some wacky shit. So I wouldn't screw around with that too much. So if we go into BIOS, you don't actually need BIOS files to make this run. However, if you want the Game Boy intro screen to show up on any of your games, you need to do this. So all you need to do is go ahead and hit browse and navigate to wherever your BIOS files are. Click on said BIOS file and then hit open. You can do it for each individual one if you want. This one's for the Super Game Boy. I don't really know if, a lot of you are going to be using that. I don't think it's really worth even bothering, but if you want to do that, you can. As far as the emulation section is concerned, I would enable rewind as that will not be there by default. Okay, so as far as controls are concerned, you can do this a couple of different ways. You can map it to your keyboard, which you can see it's already got it set up. No matter what your situation is, I would recommend that you map your own keys. Not only can you set it up however you want, but you'll guarantee to have it to work. Sometimes if you try to use emulators out of the box, even though it says it's set up, it's not. So if you want to use your keyboard, you can go ahead and use this. I don't usually use that, so I usually navigate down here to controls for control. As you can see, this section right here in the middle, it says 8-bit do ultimate to wireless control. That's exactly what this is. So if we hit select all, it'll just start mapping. So we can map the D-pad up, right, down, left, and then A and B, whatever you want those. On the Xbox controller, like I've got here, A and B are swapped to the map there, but I mapped them like a regular Nintendo control. That's up to you. Select, start, left, and right, and that's all we need to do there. After you set up your controls, I would suggest going to shortcuts. Earlier, we clicked the rewind in one of the sections. Make sure you go to emulation and figure out what it's mapped to as far as your keys are concerned. It's the easiest way to do it. You can hit rewind with this here, or just hold it like I do. Obviously, you want to figure out your fast forward keys as well for your more grindy games like Pokemon, your RPGs, that sort of thing. Okay, I know I've done this in kind of a weird order, but it is what it is. You won't know through the magic of editing. But anyway, lastly, as far as the enhancements go, I usually have OpenGL selected. As far as high resolution scale, I've already got it at 1440p. I believe it actually auto detects your monitor or whatever resolution you have Windows set to. You can do whatever you want. The regular resolution is 260 by 120, I believe. I would imagine you don't want to leave it on that. Once you have all the configurations for everything here the way you want them, make sure you hit apply, otherwise it will not save them. So next, I'm going to show you how to navigate to your games. Literally just go down to File, go to Load ROM, and then you want to navigate to wherever your games are stored. Obviously, we navigate to our Game Boy Advanced. I don't have a ton of Game Boy stuff. I'm going to stay away from the Nintendo stuff because I don't really want to draw there either. We will pick Castlevania. But yeah, that's basically how you set up Game Boy Advanced Emulation on Windows. Pretty easy. Again, pretty bare bones, but I certainly enjoy it. If you want to see more content like this from me, or like emulation-related news about handhelds, emulators, PC mods, all that kind of stuff, like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys on the next video.